I can't believe that I slept on this movie for so long. The next time something like this happens, you guys just, I don't know, kick my ass or something. Folks, if there's two things that we on JoBlo know that you love, it's movies and movies with Jet Li. Maybe it's his martial arts skills, maybe it's his acting chops, maybe it's the combination of both, or maybe it's just the incredible movies that Hollywood puts him in. And one of those movies is one that I'm ashamed to admit that I've slept on for most of my life, and it's one that I'm sure you guys love. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about Romeo Must Die, a perfect blend of martial arts, hip-hop, cinema, and fandom. Now, I did watch this movie since we made the video, so I am happy to say that I very much enjoyed it, but I am no expert, but luckily for me, I don't have to be, because Chris Bumbray is. So I've got Chris here to tell us all about what the f happened to Romeo Must Die. Let's get into it.
It can't be denied that in the 80s and 90s, action movies coming out of Hong Kong revolutionized the industry, marrying the kinetic style of 70s grindhouse martial arts epics with the technological innovations and kinetic energy of the best American action movies of the era. Directors like John Woo, Choi Hark, and Ringo Lam, plus stars like Jackie Chan and Chow Yun-fat, made a huge mark internationally. In the mid-90s, and in the face of Hong Kong's impending 1997 handover to China, many of the biggest names from the scene found their way to North America, and outside of Jackie Chan and John Woo, arguably the most successful transition was made by martial arts superstar Jet Li. A former member of the Beijing Wushu team, Li's arguably become the biggest martial arts movie star since Bruce Lee. Sure, Jackie Chan movies maybe made more money, but they arguably weren't straightforward martial arts films done in an old-school way. Jet Li movies were a different beast, with a string of hits that included Once Upon a Time in China, Fist of Legend, and many others, turning him into a legendary figure in Hong Kong, and his films started circulating around Hollywood screening rooms in the mid-90s. One person who sat up and took notice of Li's talents was producer Joel Silver, who was arguably the biggest name in action films at the time. A Hong Kong action enthusiast, he produced The Matrix, which enlisted choreographer Yen Wu-ping to design gravity-defying martial arts sequences. It was Yen's movie with Jet Li, Fist of Legend, which ended up having an outsized influence on The Matrix, and before that film ever even hit theaters, Li wound up making his North American movie debut as the antagonist in the Joel Silver-produced Lethal Weapon 4. As bad guy Wah Sing Koo, Li made a huge impression with his intensity and ferocious command of martial arts, making him an intimidating and even somewhat scary villain. Yet, what American audiences at the time really didn't know was that the movie had cast Li way against type, as he typically didn't play bad guys and in fact was known as a pretty laid-back, easygoing family man. With Li's appearance in Lethal Weapon 4 having been a pretty big success, Silver, who was also basking in the afterglow of The Matrix, wasted no time crafting a star vehicle for Li which would allow him to play a good guy much more in line with the characters he played in Hong Kong action movies, and paved the way for his lucrative career as a leading action star in American movies. That film was the 2000 release, Romeo Must Die.
Sorry, Romeo. You gotta die.
The movie would be a mashup of two genres that were gaining a lot of traction at the North American box office. One, of course, would be Asian-style action flicks, but the other would be urban dramas, with hip-hop influenced movies like Friday, Set It Off, Juice, and many others having proven to be pretty lucrative.
Guns don't kill people. People kill people.
Not only on the big screen, but also as far as soundtracks went. It also didn't hurt that Asian action flicks had a major following in the black community, with the Wu-Tang Clan especially noteworthy in that regard. Romeo Must Die would basically take the formula of William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, which not coincidentally had been turned into a major hit just a few years before with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes, where the children of two warring households fall for each other and adapted into an action movie formula. Here, Li plays Po Sing, the son of a triad crime lord who eschews a life of crime for an honest career as a Hong Kong cop. However, he winds up in prison when he takes the rap for his younger brother, only to escape when he learns that the brother has been killed in Oakland, California. Once he makes his way to the States, he teams up with Trish, the daughter of Isaac O'Day, another Oakland crime lord, in a violent rivalry with Po Sing's father. Trish wound up being played by Aaliyah, who was riding high on the pop charts at the time and proved to be a natural on screen. Furthering the movie's hip-hop connection, rapper DMX, who Silver was also grooming as a future action star in his own right, would play a key supporting role, while vets Henry O and Delroy Lindo would play the dueling crime bosses. The movie was directed by Andrzej Partkowiak, the DP who shot Lethal Weapon 4, and it would be the first in a string of similar movies he'd helmed for Silver, with it followed by Exit Wounds, in which Lee was disastrously replaced, at least for the stuntman, with Steven Seagal, and then Cradle to the Grave, which would reteam Lee and DMX. Granted, the plot of Romeo Must Die is pretty thin. Notably, any hint of romance between Lee and Aaliyah's characters is downplayed, with a kissing scene having been axed at the 11th hour, making the title a bit of a head-scratcher. Yet it was also jam-packed with action set pieces that would marry Lee's Hong Kong style with the elevated Matrix aesthetic, something which definitely divided action movie fans when it came out. Corey Yen, who had directed several of Lee's biggest Hong Kong movies, would serve as fight choreographer, and some of the action sequences are pretty cool, if over-edited. The first big one, where Lee's character breaks out of prison, is the best of the bunch, with it utilizing a bone-breaking X-ray technique that was lifted from the Sonny Chiba grindhouse classic, The Street Fighter. However, many fans, myself included, felt way too much wire work was used. This is especially notable anytime one of the heroes performs a move that's physically impossible, such as a ludicrous bit in an early fight where Russell Wong manages to do a 180-degree flip mid-air while simultaneously attacking two opponents. You can basically see him hanging from the wire, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
That's some cold shit.
The fact is, Lee's prowess was so impressive on its own merits that he really didn't need wire work to impress audiences, and his follow-up, Kiss of the Dragon, which was produced by Luc Besson, would make the fact that no wire work was used a key part of their marketing. Even still, audiences didn't seem to mind too much, with Romeo Must Die having been a significant box office hit. It made close to $100 million worldwide on a $20 million budget, which was pretty big money for the era, and it also happened to come out during the DVD boom, with it selling millions and millions of units. It also didn't hurt that Aaliyah's single from the soundtrack, Try Again, was a pretty major pop hit. Tragically, two main cast members would die prematurely. Aaliyah, whose career as an actress was on the upswing, died over a year after the movie came out in a tragic plane crash. DMX, who made a few successful action flicks in the wake of Romeo Must Die, would also die pretty young, at only 50 years old after a long battle with drug addiction. Nowadays, Romeo Must Die remains something of a cult hit, although the obvious Vancouver locations, where it doubles really badly for Oakland, and the overuse of Wi-Fi definitely put it more in the cheesy, so bad it's good kind of category rather than one of Lee's indisputable classics.
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
However, it did its job, with Lee spending much of the 2000s riding a big wave of popularity both in North America and in Asia, with him still a superstar, even if he's largely pulled back from making movies in recent years. He would definitely do better American action movies, with Danny the Dog, or Unleashed as it's called here in North America, being a particular highlight. We all still love Jet Li here at JoBlo, and hey, I still love to see him do another action movie, but I guess I won't hold my breath because it seems like it's not really in the cards anymore. Even still, Romeo Must Die is a pretty fun, if dated, little movie, and it's crazy to believe that it came out 25 full years ago. Boy, do I feel old.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.